Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Dad at Arms channel. I'm your host, Dad at Arms. I also go by Colt. And joining me today is Mike Bernhardt. And he is a digital compositor with Powerhouse Animation who got to work on Masters of the Universe Revolution. So welcome, Mike.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So I'm just going to jump right into it and let you introduce yourself and tell people what it is you do and the work you did for Revolution.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm Mike Bernhardt. I am a digital compositor, do a lot of 2D compositing work. It's a lot of lighting and effects and some camera stuff on the episodes. Make bright things brighter and shiny things more rainbowy. It's real nice.
That's awesome. How did you come onto the project?
I had been sort of jumping from like studio to studio, doing just like certain animation things and then running into other compositing projects at a few in-town studios, and then just randomly applied to Powerhouse on a whim. Kind of like hopeful. I loved all the stuff they had done with Revelation and their like other anime projects, and things like that. And I was like, well, maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
And it worked out very well for me. And I got in, made friends with the compositing crew. They placed me on the Revolution setup shortly thereafter. Yeah.
Very cool. And you're a He-Man fan yourself. I see some of the stuff in the background. You've got Motherboard. You've got the Revelation Mondo Skeletor standing there, it looks like.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. Revolution is probably one of the best things I could have done from my fan point of view. It's like I always like the Horde, so it's like wonderful to get to work in a world where they get to exist and be so cool as they are in Revolution.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think, I'm speaking for myself, but I think I speak for plenty of other fans. As a He-Man fan, you're living the dream. You get to work on something official, something that's part of the He-Man story now.
Yeah, for sure. It's very exciting.
No, that's awesome. Before we came on and started recording, you had mentioned that the Filmation cartoon was an inspiration for you.
Yeah. The original 80s cartoon was like an inspiration for me to continue and work toward being an animator. Like I drew all the time, and I really loved like the storytelling and the fun like little things here and there within that series, and then the following series. And yeah, it was a great inspiration, and it's so nice to have it come full circle for me.
Yeah.
Like to go growing up watching it and then become like a part of it by making it for others to watch as well as myself.
That's awesome. I think that's incredible. So when it comes to Masters of the Universe, what you watched the 80s cartoon and were a fan of that, and it was an inspiration, obviously. What about Masters of the Universe kind of draws you into it? What is it that you enjoy about the franchise?
I think it is that whole sword and sorcery feel to it. Like the technology aspect is also fun, but I always really appreciated like that early like mini comic version of He-Man, like that barbarian-esque running around with a battle axe and taking on some evil wizards. It was pretty
awesome.
Cool. But the Filmation brand was so great for like the fun and moral aspects of it. I think it's like some really good writing on a good handful of episodes there.
Do you have any favorite characters that
mine probably would have to be like toy wise, I'd say Mantenna is probably a big favorite for me. I really like the eye-popping action.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoy him. But I think I have a hierarchy of toys. I like Mantenna's great. Probably my top tier. Then there's Tongue Lasher, and Spikor is also super cool. I
Awesome.
just like those guys a lot.
I get it. I think all of us out there have our tiers, like you said. Like for me, whenever a new He-Man line comes out, I always know where I'm going to start, like what figures I'm going to buy first, no matter what.
Sure.
And then what figures I'm going to get eventually, and what figures I'm going to buy over and over again every time they release a new version of it.
Yeah.
And for me, obviously I love He-Man, but it's He-Man, Skeletor. My top three are He-Man, Skeletor, and Teela.
Mm-hmm.
And so I buy He-Man, and then I always buy a matching Teela for my wife.
Nice.
And because my favorite thing about all of Masters of the Universe, and this is something I've talked about a lot on this channel, is I love He-Man and Teela together, and I love them as a couple. I love their love story, and it was my biggest flex for being a He-Man fan is that I was able to convince my wife to let us have the vintage He-Man and Teela figures on top of our wedding cake.
That's beautiful.
And that's something that's special to me, and it's a way that I can share that with the person I love, my soulmate. And so so it feeds into my collecting habits, and everything. But I think everybody has kind of their own way of doing things, and I think that's great. The thing I like about Spikor, you mentioned him being one of your favorites, is I still remember as a kid just the how the toy was made and just the tactile feeling of it, of feeling all the rubbery spikes on his head, and like it feels. I still remember that sensation of just squeezing his head with my little kid hand, and it's fantastic. And I think that's what's great about the toy line in particular, is that it's so inventive. It's so easy to pick up and play with all these different things.
All the toys in the vintage run, like the innovation in fun toy design is amazing to me. I still marvel at it now.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy it. Seeing like new and creative things that they do, or they did, and like them bringing them back is also cool.
Yeah. It feels like we're living in a Masters of the Universe Renaissance period right now, where I think we have more stuff now than we did in the 80s.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's not even like considering the classics line at this point.
Right.
Even just in they're doing the whole cartoons classic run.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the offshoot branded stuff too, like the Turtles of Grayskull stuff, is pretty big now. And then there's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
we've got the Origins line itself, then like you said, the cartoon collection in that line, and then the Turtles crossover line, and then we've got the Masterverse line, and it's got its own sublines.
It does.
With Princess of Power, New Eternia. It's got the movie line. I mean, and then even aside from the toys, we've got all the stuff coming. Well, I guess they're still toys, but the Mondo figures, which are fantastic. I have He-Man and Skeletor on my shelf, and then I ordered Teela as soon as she went up for order. So and then that's about all I can afford, I think, for those big guys.
No, that's fair. I've got this guy back there, the Revelation Skeletor, and then I've got the collector's Skeletor and He-Man in the other room, secretly watching over me while I sleep.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I kind of hope they make a Revelation version of He-Man, like they did with Skeletor.
I do too.
I love that look.
I can't know what anybody's doing, but man, it does look cool. So
yeah, it's such a cool design. I love the designs of the new show, Revelation. How they updated it and stuff, and
me too,
fantastic. So
Mhm.
Tell me about your job. Tell me, I guess, more kind of the specifics. Explain it to me because I know nothing about
Sure.
any of this.
Um, Basically, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in pre-production where they like board everything out and do like build animatics and set up for key animation and things like that. And then they'll paint their backgrounds and give us the finished animation. So we'll have these beautifully painted backgrounds done by the Powerhouse crew and this animation, and we stack those together and then kind of make them all work in the same space, given like certain amounts of direction based on like what's happening in the script. If there's like Tila's doing Zor magic or something like that, we'll like make that look the way it's supposed to look. And a lot of that stuff's been set up previously, either by like the Revelation crew or like in the first season, or like we will do some R&D and like figure out how it's supposed to look, so that when we get into the full post-production part where compositing takes over, we'll know where to put it and how to place it into a shot. But get too far off here. If there's a shot that needs those effects, we can put them in there, and then we can adjust camera to make it work, and do several other like little glow ups here and there, using some fun software.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So your job is to basically take everything and, like you said, give it a glow up, make it look bright and vibrant. And
Yeah. That was a big thing that Adam Conroe wanted for this season, is just like those vivid, vibrant colors, making it feel so much more like a fun animated landscape that works so well for Revolution. It's very it pops, It's like,
yeah,
and we tried to carry that forward in the compositing process, I think.
cool. I think that's one thing I noticed. Revelation does have a lot of really great colorful moments and bright moments and stuff like that. But I did notice the change in Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed brighter, and I felt like it was a thematic choice, because with Revelation, obviously the story is a little bit more grim.
Mm-hmm.
You have He-Man die at the beginning. You have Tila struggling with her issues and magic dying in the universe, and just all of this pretty heavy stuff that it gets resolved at the end, and the color comes back. The magic comes back.
For sure.
But it feels like with Revolution moving forward, it's like, okay, everybody is kind of in their prime now. Adam is Adam, and everyone knows that he's He-Man, and he doesn't have to pretend to be a coward anymore. And
right.
Tila's the new sorceress, and everybody is kind of stepping into these new roles, and I feel like the color scheme matched that tone.
Sure.
So I think that's really cool to see. Mm-hmm. To see that kind of thought process go into building this series.
Yeah.
As far as all of the things you worked on, do you have any standout moments that were kind of your favorite?
There are a few. Right from the top in episode 1 of Revolution, the whole spider scareglow fight scene. I took the reins on that and just ran with it from pretty much the start to the end there. And that was a really nice time for me to like break into it and like work with such a fun like series of shots.
Yeah.
It was super cool. Yeah.
Awesome. And you get to work with that glowing neon green color scheme, and
yeah.
That's cool. Well, it's a beautiful scene, so you nailed it.
Yeah. Thanks.
I really hope we get a toy of that version of Scareglow, that spider form.
I think that would be excellent also. Again, can't say whether or not that's gonna happen, but it still sounds cool.
I have my contacts like at Mattel and Netflix and stuff, and I'm always bugging them about things that I need to see to be happy.
Yeah.
And I keep, like, with Rob David over at Mattel, I keep bugging him how I need a He-Man and Tila 2-pack and their final armor uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
That they get in Revolution. But, like, with the iridescent color scheme going on that happens during their transformation, where they're very bright and very colorful. The Magic Girl
Yeah.
transformation, I was like,
Trying
give
to
me that
figure out,
2-pack.
thinking about how to like pull that off in like an action figure format.
Yeah, I think they make them translucent plastic
Uh-huh.
and glow in the dark. I think that's
pretty cool.
That's my call. But definitely another one that I want to see. I want to see the Scareglow monster, Spider Scareglow.
Yeah.
Granomir would be fantastic.
That'd be a big one.
Yeah, I think
if it's
a lot of
scale.
Yeah, if it's to scale, holy cow, it might be bigger than my Castle Grayskull here.
Well, that's the thing. I was really impressed with the motherboard figure.
She was cool.
She's to scale, and it's so tall.
Yeah, and that might be the route they go. They might have to do them as the con exclusives, which sure. I'd be okay with. So, well, that's awesome, man. So were there any other shots, any other things that you enjoyed working on aside from the Scarecrow?
I mean, there's always like a few fun things. Let's see. Give me a second to think of something. That one stands out because it was like the first one and like the most like coverage.
Yeah.
Right up from the beginning. Some stuff toward the end when one of the Horde ships crashes right behind Castle Grayskull.
Nice.
That was a big one. Really like that one. I got to blow that up. Like a lot of what my job is and has always been is just blowing stuff up.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So did digital explosions.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. In terms of, I know you're not at liberty to talk about what you may or may not know going forward, but if the series were continue and we get a season 3, I like to ask people, what kind of things would you like to see kind of going forward if you could have your dream things happen?
Man, I don't even know if I can speculate on it. I guess there's so much that could happen. It's hard to know, like, as strictly as a fan with no idea what's going on.
Right.
I think it would be cool to, we brought back Preternia, and that's great. I feel like we're coming back to a world where there's not really a major threat currently. So maybe we reintroduce something that came back with Preternia. Who can know what that is? But maybe. Man, who knows? Maybe it'll be some of them little sneaky men.
Yeah. That, I think we're on the same page with that one. That's definitely what I would like to see happen. I'd like to see those snakes make an appearance.
I want that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, I have no foreknowledge or ideas of anything going forward.
Yeah. All this, for anybody out there, this is all just fan speculation at this point.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. I was pretty well fed with Revolution, and with Revelation, I got to see the stories that I cared about continued, that were set up by the Filmation cartoon.
For sure.
We got to see Tila's destiny further explored and fulfilled. And for me, a big part that really paid off big time in Revolution was the relationship for Adam and Tila finally, moving forward. So that was, I was pretty happy with what we got, what we've had so far. And so I think at this point, I'm just like, just give me all the cool geeky stuff now. I want to see the Snake Men. I want to see, I want to see the Tyrannosaurus Rex, show up. We've seen the green Triceratops. We've seen Bionatops. Yeah. So I want to see that guy, I want to see it all. I just want more and more seasons.
Forever and ever.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have some other questions for you regarding your job. I think you explained it really well.
Oh, good.
Um, I'm looking at your collection around you, and I want to ask you about some of your items there on your. I think it's trying to camera stuff
This
on
is my
your
right.
right side. Yeah. So on your right side, it looks like, is that one of the 3D plastic store displays, that Skeletor
Of
to
this
your
thing?
right? Yeah.
This is they have like a series of four of these. They're like the little placard. It's like
Yeah.
Skeletor and He-Man. I think there's Orko and Man at Arms, which I do not have.
Man, that's
But
cool.
these were gifts. Very, very nice little frames.
Very cool. And then it looks like you've got some vintage figures. You've got one underneath that Skeletor I can kind of see, and then on the
Yeah.
wall behind you.
Oh, I forgot what side I'm on. Yeah, this is my horde deck. I tried to like make it very horde centric in here
I love it.
to like let you know that they are probably my favorite because they are just all like your horror movie monsters, but
Yeah.
in that world that you love so much. And it's like,
And I think that's part of why we, as kids, you're drawn to that, because it's like Masters of the Universe is like kind of the kid-friendly version of getting to see all these scary monsters, but in a safe setting where, okay, but He-Man's there, so
Yeah.
there isn't danger,
exactly.
But like, I remember as a kid, like going to the video store and like wanting to go walk down the horror movie aisle just to look at all the VHS covers because
Yeah.
it scared me, but I was still like curious. And I feel like I kind of have the same feeling with the horde and all these monsters that show up with them, and
Yeah,
it's so cool.
it most certainly is. I am all about it. I was going to include Mosquitor over there, but I couldn't find a place for him to sit.
Yeah.
He's full of blood. Hooray.
He is, and that I still can't believe we got that toy as a kid. Here's a toy that pumps blood.
Yeah, fun, right?
Yeah, it's great fun. Oh man. Oh, another thing I think would be cool if we saw the Fright Zone show up in Revolution. I think if we could get like some type of slime pit
variants.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
So
I think from that, I wonder how that would work. now my brain's going. It would be super cool.
Yeah. I'll leave it to more talented people to figure that stuff out.
Me too. Make a story. I'll make it look pretty.
There you go.
Like the pretty that already exists. Yeah. I feel like I say that a lot. Like I'm gonna make it look pretty, but like honestly, most of the rest of the team, like the backgrounds department and the animation, is so choice.
Yeah.
And Powerhouse is like it takes some doing sometimes to make it look exactly how like the vision for it to look is supposed to be. But I mean, often it's just nailed in that first pass, and we're just throwing on a little bit of a finesse veneer.
That's awesome.
And we're good to go. And I love all the backgrounds that like Pedro and his team were doing. They're so great.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, they're lovely. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I like to do, when I talk to people who have worked on this show, I know when Revelation first came out, there was the internet negativity that came with it.
Sure.
Which is always unfortunate. And I think unfortunately, we hear the negative things more than we hear the positive things. And so I've tried to make it a goal of mine is to spread the positivity however I can. And so what I've been doing is, in the course of these interviews, when I talk to people, I want you to know from a fan that I'm very happy with what you've been able to do and the love and care that you've given to this new series. And, because it is something that's special to my heart, and I am very protective of it. And I'll tell you face to face, thank you for for taking care of what I love, and I think you guys deserve all the kudos that I can express. And I know my words aren't enough, but I wanted to make that clear. So thank you for your part in this, and it's appreciated.
That's very nice. Thank you for saying that.
Of course.
For sure. I feel very much the same. Like, I think that everything that's been done has been handled so well, and we're so adamant about maintaining that good feeling, that. I don't think anybody has any intention to make a bad show ever.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
But I definitely put a lot of extra care into it as a fan myself. I was like, I want to make this work and make it look super cool. I love it so much.
And I think the biggest testament to this show is how many fans are working on it.
Yeah.
And, you've got people over at Netflix, Teddy Biaselli, who is a massive fan of this franchise.
Yeah.
And he's, him and Rob David are there directing Kevin Smith on what needs to happen and the things that need to be included and stuff like that. But even the writers, they're fans themselves of this kind of stuff. The animators, the character designers, the digital compositors, like you.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell. I've talked to many of these people, and I know where their heart is, and I know that they are true fans of this, and that's good enough for me. And you guys have done a fantastic job, and the proof is in the pudding. So,
yeah,
well done.
I love pudding. That's good.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know if I have any more questions for you. I know this is kind of a shorter interview, but
it's fine.
I just love talking to you guys and hearing your perspectives and hearing how you do your job, because it's something that me as a viewer, I just get to see it all.
Yeah.
And so to really get in the weeds about it and stuff like that, that's a really neat experience for me. So thank you for taking your time on a Saturday also.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I got free time. You got kids, they got to do something.
That's right. I know how that is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to add that we might have skipped, or?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't have anything offhand for the interview itself.
Okay.
I was going to ask you about your farm.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
What kind of farm do you have?
So it's mainly a crop farm. We do have livestock. Our main crops are wheat, and alfalfa and beans.
That's very cool.
That's what we focus on. And then as far as livestock goes, we've got horses. And it's a family farm, so I'm fourth generation at this point of maintaining and running this farm. And so, I've done it ever since I was a kid. And then as a kid, I hated it, because it's hard work. And I was like, I'm getting out of this when I grow up. And as soon as I could, I went off to college and I became a journalist. And then I realized that, journalism is kind of a stressful career. I don't know if I like it too much. And I've really discovered now in my 40s that I'm happy being a farmer. I work for myself. I get to be outside. I get to raise my children in a good place and teach them the value of hard work.
For sure.
And as a kid, I had wonderful experiences. I grew up raising horses. My dad taught me how to break horses and train them, and that's something that I cherish, and I still do it. And yesterday I had my kids out helping me. We were working with a new horse Colt that's get to the point where he needs to get a halter on and start training him how to follow along with the halter, and then it gets to the saddle part where you saddle them up, and I love all that stuff, and I took it for granted as a kid. So
yeah.
I do love talking about it. I know I'm a big He-Man nerd, but I'm learning more and more that I might be a little bit of a farming nerd, and I never thought I would be.
I want to tell you, I was curious because I too grew up on a farm.
Awesome.
Big dairy kid.
So yeah, I'm preaching to the choir. You know all about it.
I do. But I wanted to have that kind of moment where we have a commonality besides just the cool other stuff we do.
Awesome. So we are united in our Motu fandom, and we are united in our farm
boyness.
upbringing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So you grew up on a big dairy farm.
We've got a medium-sized dairy farm, but yeah.
It's. I mean, those dairy farms. We didn't do dairy cows. We did springers. Is what we did. So pre-dairy cows. But yeah, we've got a dairy over that way that neighbors our farm. We've got a dairy over this direction that neighbors our farm. So definitely a lot of dairy farmers around here that
for sure
work with daily, and so it's always nice to see a similar soul. So
you 4-H kid.
What's that?
Did you do 4-H?
I did 4-H 1 year. We raised pigs. And we worked all summer to make sure that they would make weight. Yeah. And then when we took them in to weigh them, they were too skinny because we had walked them every day, and and they're like, well, they're not quite, they're good pigs, but they're not quite. They're not show ready. So we're like, well, okay, we tried.
Yeah.
And we got a freezer full of bacon, so
that's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
That's the way to do it.
So, were you a 4-H kid?
I was a 4-H kid for about 3-4 years. All dairy 4-H on my end. Do show cattle. It's very similar. Get them into a halter, walk them around a lot, keep them clean, which is super fun with a cow.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
It's much different for a horse. And yeah, I think we took every opportunity to utilize the time at the fairground as much as possible. So we would do like arts and crafts stuff for that tent, and like we'd grow plants, and we'd take our cows, and that's like a whole run of things.
Oh yeah.
I used to do dairy judging. That was fun.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
With the horses that we raise, when I was a teenager, we had two stallions that we would breed horses. Yeah. And so we were pedigreed and had really, my dad put a lot of care into that side of the farming business, and so that was always really interesting to, the horsemanship side of things was always kind of what my dad stressed and focused on. For us, that you got to have good horses. This is how you tell what a good horse is, and you got to take care of them so that they'll take care of you, and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
So
I like that.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome. So, thanks for sharing that with me.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing it up. I'm glad we got to share that. That's cool.
Yeah, that's super fun.
Yeah. Well, I can't thank you enough, you and your coworkers and colleagues. So if there's anybody out there I miss, please spread the word that I, as a fan, am so grateful for everything they've done. And
I will, for sure.
I'd hug every single one of you if I could. So, before we go, is there anything that you want to plug for yourself or for people to follow you online?
No, not really. I'm good.
Awesome. No worries at all.
Yeah. Kind of remain pretty minimal. So.
Okay.
Hey man, thank you so much for having me again. That's nice.
Absolutely. This is always a treasure. It's always, we get to talk about He-Man. I don't know if there's anything better.
Not usually. It depends. Like talking about it and watching it are like, they go about the same, so it's good.
Yeah.
And then watching with my kids, and they love it also. So
isn't it great getting to share it with your kids?
That's very nice.
Yeah. I had a really fun moment. So my youngest son, he really got attached to Orko in Revelation.
Okay, yeah.
And just a couple months ago, I got to interview Griffin Newman.
Oh yeah.
And I got to talk with him, and he was fantastic. In fact, him and Ted signed the Gwildor and Orko 2-pack for me.
So cool. Yeah, nice.
but it was really neat because when I was talking with Griffin, he took the time to talk to my son and just had a little chat with him, and it was just so sweet and so nice to see that moment.
I love that.
So I kept it private. I didn't publish it.
Yeah, for sure. But
but it was neat. Nice. It was really neat. So
I like that.
Everybody I've talked to, everybody I've come into contact with, doing these interviews has just been amazing, wonderful people. And you are included in that as well. So.
Hooray!
You did good.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, I will let you go. I'll go ahead and we'll do a quick sign off here for everybody out there. Thanks for watching. And continue to watch the show, continue to collect the toys. That's what we all love. And until next time, I am Dad at Arms. You can find me on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook, but I don't really update a lot of stuff there. And then I'm on YouTube here with these interviews. So, and again, I want to thank my guest and new friend, Mike Bernhardt. This has been fun. So, You guys enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Bye.